wobbling. Okay, I'm done with this. All right, let's do the fucking real news now. Israeli military has released a statement on the aid workers killed in Gaza. So the Israeli military murked 7 aid workers, as you guys know. Obviously, they've killed 200 plus since October 7, but these 7 happen to be, white. So it was more newsworthy for the Western world. A lot of people got mad. Doctora, thank you for the 5 gifted. Captain ACAP badge 1312, thank you for the 5 gifted. It was very, very important that everybody got mad at it. Everybody were like, "Hey, Israel." Joe Biden even said things along the lines of, I'm about to have a very stern conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu. So,
7-paragraph statement
Indibi, thank you for the
on
10.
why it says that a convoy of aid workers in Gaza was hit by airstrikes on Monday, killing 7 people. President Biden expressed outrage over the deaths in a tense call with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, which could mark a major shift in U.S. policy.
I like that she doubled down on the could. It could mark it, but it also could not. So he fucking called him up and was like, "Hey, open up the Eretz crossing," which is really interesting because, like, why was it closed to begin with?
That in just a second, but we're going to start with Holly Williams. She's in Israel. Holly, good morning. What does this report say?
Good morning, Gail. Israel's military has blamed its killing of the 7 World Central Kitchen aid workers on operational misjudgment and has expressed its, quote, deep sorrow. It says members of its armed forces were convinced they were hitting Hamas, but they were
Oh, were they? Were they convinced, dude? Yeah, they always think they're hitting Hamas. They were convinced they were hitting Hamas when they were hitting their own fucking hostages too. Okay, when they were shooting them point blank. No, they're not hitting Hamas. They always are convinced that they're hitting Hamas when they're fucking shooting at ambulances too. It's bullshit. Yeah, they were convinced they were hitting Hamas when they did the Flower Massacre. Classic. Operational misjudgment, dude. Had trouble explaining to my friends that the crossing being closed is not a U.S. policy. They were confused as to what I wanted. I think they are accidentally admitting it here. Yeah. Dude, it's always, oh man, we just, oopsie. We thought they were Hamas. No, what they thought was that they probably thought that they were Palestinian aid workers at least. Okay? That's it. They're so used to killing random Palestinian aid workers and Middle Eastern aid workers that they thought this was more of that, more of the same. Why would they, after all, think that this was weird to do, especially when there is no accountability anyway? It's top down fucked up, okay?
violation of standard operating procedures.
Israel's military says it wrongly believed that a militant was inside one of the World Central Kitchen vehicles. It says after striking that car, it identified people moving to the second car, which it also hit, and then the third, killing all 7 aid workers. The report also found that the Israeli military's cameras failed to detect the markings on the World Central Kitchen vehicles. It confirmed.
Why are leftists so powerless? What do you mean? Being a leftist, or being an anti-capitalist especially, means that you are at odds with everything that has won and succeeded and dominated the planet for the past 100 years, pretty much. Cold War ended. The USSR dissolved. Socialism took a fat L. It was already taking L's before then. Okay? 500? I mean, yes, that for sure. But I'm talking like our understanding post-industrial revolution, everyone, shut up. Doesn't matter. Okay? There is no balance. There is no alternative. This is the reason why everyone is so fucking powerless. We are living in the era where there is no counter, no alternative to capitalism. That's why conditions worsen every single day.
Confirms in large part the account of the attack given earlier this week by chef Jose Andres, World Central Kitchen's founder.
They were target.
That boy Dan is live. Thank you for the
car by
5.
car.
Israel also confirmed that World Central Kitchen was coordinating its movements in Gaza with the military.
All I can say at the moment is...
Bro, these guys did literally everything. Okay? They did everything to the book, by the book. Okay? They were specifically brought in so that Israel can do PR. To be like, see, we're not fucking... we're not stopping aid. Look, this very famous chef and his very famous aid organization is operating. Obviously, even him operating, Jose Andres' aid workers operating in the region was not enough, especially considering that most of the aid that is supposed to come in with trucks via land crossings were being held up at the border. Even if the WCK aid workers were not assassinated by Israeli drone strikes, it would still not be enough, right? Nothing was fine before the aid workers were killed. If anything, the aid workers being killed, so specifically Western aid workers being killed, got people on board with the brutality. They got people to recognize the brutality.
Is to offer my apologies and say that we share in the grief.
Despite the deaths of the aid workers, a spokesman for Israel's government insisted yesterday that Israel is setting a, quote, new gold standard in preventing civilian casualties.
Yet, President Biden has said that this was not a standalone incident and Israel has not done enough to protect civilians. I mean, is that a wake-up call for Israel?
Our fight is with Hamas, not the people of Gaza. And we...
Yeah, right, dude. That's why like the liberal alternative to Benjamin Netanyahu was on Morning Joe like 2 days ago going, innocent civilians in Gaza. Innocent Palestinian civilians, in air quotes. No, man. Ay, ay, ay. He did do that. Yes, he did those hand gestures. I mean, here, this is it. Where was it? I think it was like around the end here. Oh, here, look.
And we collaborate with the world, funding, helping the innocent people in Gaza.
Let me run it again.
And we collaborate with the world, funding, helping the innocent people in Gaza. That.
Yeah, he doubled down on it twice. He did it. Innocent people in Gaza. That guy's in the government, not liberal.
80% of them, 70, 80.
I mean, he's the minister of economy. He is definitely more liberal than Benjamin Netanyahu is.
Percent of them support October 7th.
Yeah, and then he followed up by 80% of them support October 7th. This logic, by the way, implies that everyone in fucking Israel deserves October 7th too, then, by the way, because Israel has been doing genocide. The Israeli government has been doing genocide in Gaza, and an even larger percentage of Israelis support it. So what the fuck is that? What do you mean? The only way this attitude works is if you just genuinely think like, well, Palestinians are not real people, they deserve it, and Israelis are real people and they don't deserve it. That's it.
We will do our utmost to limit civilian casualties on both sides.
But the medical aid group Doctors Without Borders said yesterday it does not accept the incident was simply a mistake, claiming it's part of a pattern of deliberate attacks.
Humanitarian workers are protected. No ifs, no buts. We do not accept the narrative of regrettable incidents.
In a phone call yesterday between President Biden and Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the president said US policy on Gaza will depend on Israel taking steps to reduce civilian harm and address the safety of aid workers. After that, Israel said it would increase aid deliveries to Gaza, including through Ashdod port and the Erez crossing, the main checkpoint in northern Gaza that Hamas attacked on October 7th, closed since the beginning of the war.
Israel's military says 2 officers have already been dismissed, and it says the findings of its investigation have been
This morning, I was able to use the information I've learned from this broadcast to make my Zionist friend reconsider his bloodthirst. Good.
passed on to military prosecutors to determine whether to open a criminal prosecution. Gail.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy that the U.S. can actually change Israel's policy. Where are the liberals? They were saying that it can't happen. The question now should be, why did it take so long and why so little? Why don't we, now that we dipped our toes in that water, maybe we should change it even further? Where's Brianna Wu? She's probably collecting dubs in her mind. She's like, oh yeah, fucking, see, I told you guys, Brandon is really trying. They should all be canceled for not predicting the future. That's not a fucking prediction. There's a difference. Okay. There's a difference between saying, oh, dude, Russia, of course, is not going to fucking invade Ukraine, because it has not at that point, okay, in a broad fucking actual full-blown invasion, versus like annexing fucking Crimea, okay, versus being like, oh yeah, Israel certainly is not going to do the thing that it's been doing and hasn't stopped doing and will continue to do because there is no accountability whatsoever. Russia's invasion of Ukraine is still an insane thing that they did. It is, on the other hand, not insane that an apartheid ethno-state is going to continue doing sieges in Gaza and fucking kill aid workers as they are saying that they're going to do that over and over again. The insane prediction that people would have been wrong about would have been to say that October 7 is going to happen. Even though that is still predictable, nobody, not including the fucking Hamas leadership, thought that it would be as deadly as it was, or as successful from their own perspective. There's a difference between denying abject reality. You're denying abject reality. Dude, you're just a fascist. Stop. This dude is such a fascist. He was just talking about fascism in the beginning. Wait, why am I a fascist? Please. I love hearing from chatters that say stuff like this.
Interesting. Holly, before you go, does the report say why the Israelis believed, as we just heard, that they thought that there were
Maybe he thinks I'm a firm, committed Zionist who believes that Israel's demographic concerns are normal. Sorry, what? What do you mean? Explain to me why you think I'm a fascist.
militant gunmen inside this convoy? What made them think that?
Gail, it's an extremely complicated account of trucks unloading food aid at a makeshift pier, Israel's military believing that they spotted gunmen, vehicles entering and then leaving a hangar, all resulting in that critical error. The bottom line is this should never have happened.
No, that's not funny. Don't give it a fucking omega lol. He's just making the worst joke of all time. I gave him an hour off.
Yes, we all agree with that. Holly Williams reporting from Israel. We thank you. And just moments ago, the World Central Kitchen released a statement that says, in part, without systemic change, there will be more military failures, more apologies, and more grieving families, adding, we demand the creation of an independent commission to investigate the killings of our colleagues. The IDF cannot credibly investigate its own failure in Gaza.
We've just received the IDF's...
So, Unc mad he got. Come on, dude. Have you covered Israel opens new lines for aid work? Funny it happens right after they killed 7 workers. Yeah, they opened the Eretz crossing. Okay? They opened the Eretz crossing now, after a little bit of pressure from the Brandon administration. One, they should open all of the crossings and stop holding up aid with ridiculous setbacks. oh, there's one pair of scissors, medical scissors, in an entire truck. Yeah, sorry. The entire truck needs to get turned around. The amount of aid that they're refusing to let into Gaza is unimaginable. It's unconscionable. Okay? And it's not like they're doing it for some secret reason. They have openly mentioned from the start that they're doing it to starve out Hamas. Okay? They're doing it because they want to starve the entire Gazan population, because this is an ethnic cleansing campaign. I've never seen so many very obvious, broad, open, well-defined markers for an ethnic cleansing campaign be denied this aggressively, maybe because I wasn't alive during World War II, during the Holocaust. That's probably what it is.
Initial findings on the Israeli strike that killed 7 World Central Kitchen workers in Gaza on Monday. The internal investigation has found Israeli forces believe they were targeting Hamas and, quote, mistakenly assumed 2 Hamas gunmen were in the vehicles in the aid convoy. Israel has now fired 2 military commanders.
I can't believe they fired him. This is like firing Candace Owens. It's like firing Candace Owens for anti-Semitism for the Daily Wire when you fucking hired her for the anti-Semitism originally. You know what I mean? You didn't give a shit about it. You're firing him now. This would be akin to firing Steven Crowder for being racist. It's like, what do you mean? It's their job. Their job was to keep doing fucking ethnic cleansing. What the fuck? Also, firing is pretty funny because it's like they should be in jail, dude. That's a murder. Even okay. Even from the metrics of the Western world, right, where they only care about white people getting killed, it's still a murder. What do you mean fired? The fuck do you mean fired? Jail. Okay? Jail is what needs to happen. Okay? Firing is what happens when you fuck up over and over again at your job. Jail is what happens. It's kind of like cancel culture, but like you're being canceled by the government when you kill people. Okay?
Let's get right to CNN's Nick Robertson, who joins us now live from Jerusalem. Can you walk us through the findings? It's a couple of pages. And what do you see that might be missing when you look at some of the details of this?
Yeah, sure. This is a sequence of events that the IDF has laid out that they say led to this misidentification and misclarification of the events on the ground. They say the IDF spotted a gunman getting on aid trucks. We're talking about trucks here, the big vehicles that carry the actual pallets and containers of food and other humanitarian supplies. And then the IDF says they saw another gunman, again, a single.
Before you say this is just like the cops, bro, listen. The IDF trains our cops already post 9/11. That's number one. Number two, the IDF do behave like cops in America, except even American cops would not be able to fucking withstand legal scrutiny beyond firing if they killed 6 white people. Okay? If they killed 6 fucking white people straight up, they would go to jail. Okay? That's insane. This is far beyond cops at this point.
So we're talking about 2 gunmen they're saying they see get on the aid truck or aid trucks. Then the convoy goes into the warehouse, and the IDF says what happened next is where the misidentification and misclarification happens. That the IDF then tracked the SUVs, the vehicles leaving the warehouse after the aid trucks had been there. The IDF says they didn't realize these SUVs worked for the World Central Kitchen, despite the fact these were markings are clearly emblazoned on those vehicles. The IDF then says that those vehicles were engaged because the IDF believed that the gunmen were inside those SUVs now, no longer on the aid trucks after they'd been to the warehouse, but inside the SUVs. Now, the IDF says this should not have happened. It was against their protocols and against their rules of engagement. And they have now dismissed a major who was directly involved in the...
A 17-year-old major brigadier general
incident, and the brigade chief of staff, a reserve colonel, and disciplined the brigade commander as well. Now, the World Central Kitchen say that it is good that the IDF has acknowledged and accepted responsibility. It's good that they have taken disciplinary action.
Oh, yeah, it's so good. Guys, it's all good now. It's all good. They've been disciplined, okay? They feel really bad. Not because they did it, by the way. They just feel really bad because they got yelled at. Not because they did it, not because they took lives, because they've been doing that literally since October 8th. They feel bad because the Western world was like, what the fuck are you doing? You did too much of the thing that we have been totally allowing you to do. You did it to our guys. It's not that they got caught, because they've been caught killing people that they're not supposed to, like little children that are calling for medical professionals, killing medical personnel that goes up to, children trapped. They literally stop ambulances regularly. They do this every fucking day, by the way, and they do it so much that it doesn't even get news coverage. Settlers sending gift baskets to the fired soldiers. What is this? Nochi Mendel, the guy responsible for killing 7 humanitarian aid workers, received a thank you letter and a box of chocolate from his settler community. To our neighbor and friend, Colonel Nochi Mendel, a token of appreciation from us, the people of Gush Etzion. Kudos to you for your continued contribution and dedication in the war in the Gaza Strip. We are sure that you have always acted in accordance with the spirit of the IDF. I mean, they're right. They're right. He is acting with the spirit of the IDF, for the record. Technically, these guys are right. They're not wrong. It's not an English chat. This is Google Translate. Why are you guys like this? Lemao, nice Photoshop. Come on. Come on. Listen, brothers and sisters, I need you to understand something. A lot of things come across like it's fucking insane. Here's the original. Okay, here's the original from a con news reporter. Are you happy? Are you happier now? I know it looks fake, and I know it sounds insane. Like, who could fucking do something like this? This is unconscionable, right? It's Google Translate. Okay? Are you happy, dummy? Why does your dick feel this way? Why are you the way that you are? Imagine being a loud bitch about it, and when confronted, you talk to donators. Meds. Take your meds. Take your meds. Take your meds. Take your meds now. You have forgotten to take your medication today, chatter. All right, let's continue. So that's Google Translate. Although some are quick to judge when they are under the neon lights, but we who participated in battles and fought against a cruel enemy know that in the context of combat with the fog of battle, mistakes are made, and that is part of the price of war. Unfortunately, the IDF forces accidentally killed hostages, soldiers were killed by the fire of our own forces, and the Army command realized that unfortunately this is part of the war. The importance of the political campaign is clear to us, but it is forbidden for soldiers and commanders to pay such a high price. We send you a warm hug and salute you, Yaron Rosenthal, on behalf of the residents of Gush Etzion. Here's the original. So just understand, technically he's right. The settler community is correct. He was acting in the spirit of the IDF. And he did technically get fired specifically because there was a political price for it. Okay? Yeah. This is madness. I can read a little bit of Hebrew and that translation seems accurate, but take it with a grain of salt. I mean, it's Google Translate. It's going to be the best that we can get without actually being good, decent readers of Hebrew. This to me is a perfect demonstration of how brain-breaking fascism is, okay? This is just pure fascism. Like, they're not riding for this guy alone. They're also straight up saying, like, even the fucking soldiers that killed our own Israeli citizens actually were just doing their jobs. That's why the dehumanization, the steady propaganda of dehumanization that is required to maintain a captive audience that is willing participants in fascism actually ends up dehumanizing them. Okay? A person who thinks this way is no longer human. They've lost their humanity. They've lost their capacity for empathy completely. They are now a part of a machine, a broader project, a project that is fascist. Okay? If they were brown aid workers from an African country, it probably wouldn't have even made Western media sad, but true, it didn't. 200 aid workers have been killed before these 7. 200. You never heard about it. ANIRA literally stopped their operations after the WCK aid workers were killed. ANIRA had an aid worker killed of Middle Eastern descent, of course, a month prior. You didn't even hear about it in the news. So it's not even this is not something that we need to speculate on. This is something that we know is a fact. UNRWA and ANIRA and many other aid organizations that hire almost entirely Middle Eastern aid workers are not considered real casualties, real deaths. The 35,000+ that we know of that have been murdered by Israel are not considered real deaths. They're just a number. It's statistics. Okay? If you want to see it. They've been targeting journalists. They've been targeting doctors. They've been targeting healthcare professionals. They have been... What? The problem is that most people are like that, even in Israel, even a decent amount of Israeli Arabs. Wait, what do you mean? A big chunk of Israeli Arabs are like that. Yeah. If you are dedicated to the Zionist project, which happens to, it happens to only come to fruition with the full-blown extermination of all Muslims and Christians in this region, you are going to take it to this level. Wait, Candace Owens? What is... Candace Owens wants to debate Sharpino. I would like to debate Ben Shapiro about Israel and the current definition of anti-Semitism. Can somebody make that happen? Ay, ay, ay. It's awkward how the IDF keeps killing civilians and killing workers in Gaza, and the only reason why it becomes relevant for the media. Yes, the cruel irony of residents of an illegal settlement gifting chocolate to a war criminal who bombed workers delivering food aid to starving people in a war zone. It's just cruel. It's not even ironic, dude. It's just like, it's not ironic at all. It is completely in line with these values.